Warm up today, nice and long before another 2-minute test. 4 times through, 10 arm circles, 10 lunges, 10 bent over rows on either arm, a 20-second hollow body hold, and then a 20-second Superman hold. So starting with those 10 arm circles, we're thinking arms fully extended, nice and small circles, just trying to get some blood flowing into those shoulders to start. Rounds 1 and 3, we're gonna go forward. Rounds 2 and 4, we will do our arm circles backwards. After our 10 alternating lunges, so full extension of the leg, back knee taps, trying to keep that front shin nice and vertical, push yourself back, and switching every rep for 5 on either side. After that, 10 bent over rows, so grabbing whatever weight we plan on using. Feet nice and neutral, about shoulder width apart. Bend down, soft knees, keep that core nice and tight, low back nice and tight, and think about pulling that dumbbell right to the bottom of our rib cage and squeezing that lat here. Don't think about pulling into your armpit and overextending that shoulder out the front. If we want, we can start neutral out in front here and then twist and squeeze that lat in one big motion. We'll go for 10, down, switch sides, work for 10 more on the other side. And then after our 10 and our 10, 20-second hollow body hold. Again, if we need to start at the top, work our way down, find that comfortable position, hold for 20 seconds, and we will go ahead and turn over onto our stomachs. Superman hold, hold for another 20.
Strength today, mixing up a little bit, working through some isometric holding. So we're gonna do our 10-minute EMOM like normal. This time, working through some wall sits and working through some handstand holds. So alternating between the two, starting with a 30-second handstand hold. We'll rest the remainder of that minute, and the second minute working through a 40-second wall sit. For that handstand hold, we are looking to kick up into the wall. If we do need to work on that wall walk and creep up to get us in the position, that's totally fine. But ideally, we would find that about shoulder width apart, finding that heel in the wall, and then trying to hold for the best as we can for the max of that 30 seconds, trying to put all the weight into the palms of our hands, doing our best not to push our heels into the wall, trying to keep that core nice and tight. After our 30 seconds, we'll come back down, rest for 30. At the top of that next minute, working on that 40-second wall sit. So sitting down, trying to get to below parallel if we can. If this is something where after 40 seconds we feel like it's not doing too much, we can always add weight. We can put a plate on our lap, we can hang on to a dumbbell, whatever you need to kind of make that 40 seconds a little bit harder. Workout today, 4 rounds for time, 20 alternating dumbbell snatches, 16 dumbbell thrusters, 10 alternating box step-ups. In that dumbbell snatch, we're looking for both bells to touch the ground, finishing all the way locked out overhead, switching, again, every rep, whether it's at the hip, at the ground, whatever it may be. 4-hour dumbbell thrusters. We have 16 every round. We're looking to switch hands after 8. So you will do all 8 or half on one side, working through full squat, full press at the top. After your 8 thrusters, switching sides, putting it back in that front rack for another 8. And then after your 16, 20 alternating box step-ups. Again, dumbbell doesn't have to be in a specific hand, just working on switching feet every rep. So up to the top with our right, and then alternating for left. 10 total, 5 on either side. After your 10, back to your snatch.
And then mobility today, 2 times through, 1 minute at each movement. We are starting with wrist stretch, going into Cobra Pose, going into Child's Pose, and then seated straddle. So that wrist stretch, hands and knees, working on pulling those fingers back. If we want to stay here for the first minute, we can. If you like to kind of work your way around and kind of shift back and forth for that full minute, by all means, whatever kind of helps, takes you to kind of get those wrists and those forearms nice and stretched out. After that, all the way down to the ground, 1 minute of that Cobra. So pressing the chest off the floor, trying to keep those hips as close to the ground as we can, get that core nice and stretched out. After Cobra, sitting back into Child's Pose, knees out, toes together, working on reaching those hands as far out in front as we can, getting those lats nice and stretched out. And then after that minute, popping up, going into that seated straddle as far as we can reach. Get the hip flexors, the hamstrings, that low back a little bit. If you have your kettlebell or have a bar to hold on to out front to keep you forward, feel free to hang on to that as well.